We want to take you back to Capitol Hill now, where we should be getting new information this morning about the upcoming impeachment trial in the Senate. As we told you just a few minutes ago, Nancy Pelosi is holding a very important meeting with Democratic lawmakers that's happening at 9 o'clock this morning, and the articles of impeachment could make their way to the Senate as early as tomorrow. CBS News chief congressional correspondent Nancy Cordes is following all of this from Capitol Hill. So Nancy, what's the latest that we're learning now about the possible timing of all of this?
What our sources have been telling us, Anne-Marie, is that it looks most likely that Speaker Pelosi will name her House impeachment managers and pave the way for these articles of impeachment to be transmitted from the House to the Senate either tomorrow or Thursday. What would have to happen first is that she would announce who the House impeachment managers would be. We don't even know how many managers there would be. There would then have to be a vote on a resolution in the House to name those managers. And then they would physically walk the articles with a great deal of pomp and circumstance from the House to the Senate for the trial, which would then pave the way for the trial to get underway sometime next week.
So we are going to learn soon, as you point out, who these impeachment managers are. I'm sort of curious about whether or not there are any names being bounced around. And, you know, what's the skill set that Nancy Pelosi might be looking for?
Well, if you look back to 1999 and the Clinton impeachment trial, there were 13 House impeachment managers, all Republicans, because Republicans controlled the House, and they were all lawyers, and they all sat on the House Judiciary Committee. So there was a very clear subset of individuals who were chosen for that role, which is not surprising because essentially what the House impeachment manager does is serve as lawyer for the prosecution. They come here to the House and they argue the case. They lay out all the evidence against the president, and then if there are witnesses, they interrogate those witnesses. This time around, I don't think we will see individuals who solely come from that one committee, the House Judiciary Committee, because if you think back to late last year, there were a number of House committees that were very intimately involved in this investigation. The House Intelligence Committee, run by Adam Schiff, the House Oversight Committee, Financial Services. There are a number of different committees that have been involved, and what we're told is that Speaker Pelosi could choose individuals from any of those committees, and she has always said that geographical diversity is very important to her. She doesn't want all of the impeachment managers to just end up being individuals from New York and California or the coasts, and we understand that ethnic and racial diversity is important to her as well. So I still think you'll see a bunch of lawyers, but you'll see a bunch of lawyers from a variety of committees in the House. Also
a bunch of lawyers on the president's side. I guess we already know who's going to be representing the president, right?
Right. That'll be Pat Cipollone, White House counsel, along with the president's personal lawyer, Jay Sekulow, and there will be other lawyers involved. There has been this discussion, Anne-Marie, about whether some of the president's most ardent defenders in the House, who you saw over and over again during the House impeachment inquiry, coming to his defense, Jim Jordan of Ohio, Mark Meadows of North Carolina, Doug Collins, the top Republican on the House Judiciary Committee. There's been some suggestion that perhaps they should be added to the president's defense team. And we understand that the president kind of likes that idea. He likes the idea of having individuals who are prepared to go to the mat for him. But Senate Republicans, including Texas Republican John Cornyn, a pretty high-ranking Senate Republican, some of them are not too keen on that idea. They believe that the House impeachment inquiry devolved into something of a circus, and they think that bringing some of those House members into the mix could create a circus-like atmosphere in the Senate as well.
When you started to say some of the president's most ardent defenders, I thought you were going to say Rudy Giuliani, but I digress.
Right. I think it's unlikely that he is going to play a major role in the president's defense, given that he is such a key figure in this entire controversy.
Yeah, who knows? He could be a witness. So once things get underway, how long do we expect this to take? What's it going to look like?
Well, the leader of the Senate, Mitch McConnell, has threatened that this trial is going to stretch for weeks, that it's going to last 6 days a week, hours on end. And that's kind of a warning shot to his fellow senators to say, look, unless you sort of get on board with some of my ideas for how this trial should go, you're going to be tied up here for quite some time. Because remember that the senators who act as the jury in this process, they really don't get to say much or do much. They have to sit in their seats in the Senate during the entire trial. They can't ask questions openly. They have to pass their questions on a piece of paper to the Chief Justice. And so that is something that no senator wants to see, is the possibility that they have to be quiet and sit in the Senate for weeks on end. So kind of an impetus for everyone to work together and come up with some kind of format that both sides can agree to.
All right. Nancy Cordes, thank you very much.
You're welcome.